What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Pulse Metrics channel. Today we have another rankings video coming at you. Today we are going to be ranking the top 10 NFL wide receivers going into this 2024 season. Quick disclaimer as usual. So basically, if they didn't play a full season or at least didn't play 12 games, I'm not going to include their stats because it just really would not be that fair. But that's all I got, so let's get right into it, to the top 10 NFL wide receivers going into the 2024 season. Kicking it off at number 10, we have Stefan Diggs, newly acquired wide receiver from the Houston Texans. While Stefan had a down year, it was still pretty good, I would say. Last year he kind of shared the targets a little bit more with Gabe Davis. However, he's still a beast. He's still like one of the fastest receivers in the entire league, and no one can really catch him if you're pressing it on him. 107 receptions out of 160 targets, 1,183 yards, 11.1 yards per catch, 8 touchdowns, 55 was his longest reception, 69.6 yards per game, and 2 fumbles the entire season. Again, a little bit of a down year, but it was still incredibly good. And I think, with a better quarterback, and not a better quarterback, C.J. Stroud, with a nice young quarterback, I think he could really make some magic this next year. Alright, next up, at number 9, we have Devonte Adams from the Las Vegas Raiders. The funny thing about this is that, him and Stefan Diggs' stats could not be more even. They both had 8 touchdowns, close to the same amount of receptions, close to the same amount of yards per game. It's just weird. Also, again, another guy who just had a down year, but it was still incredibly decent. Listen to these stats. 103 receptions out of 175 targets, could be better. 1,144 yards, average 11.1, so did Stefan Diggs, yards per catch, 8 touchdowns. 46 yards was his longest catch, 67.3 yards per game, and didn't fumble that entire season. And for all those Raiders fans out there, I'm sorry. Until Devonte Adams can get a quarterback who can actually get him the ball, I'm not putting him any higher than number 9. Alright, coming in at number 8, we have Mike Evans from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look, as much as Mike Evans shares the ball with Chris Godwin, man, he makes a damn good most of it, Yeah, by far the best season of his career, in my opinion. Like I said, sharing the ball with Chris Godwin, 79 receptions out of 136 targets, 1,255 yards, 15.9 yards per catch, 13 touchdowns, that's tied for first. 75 yards was his longest catch, 73.8 yards per game, and didn't fumble once that entire year. Listen, I'm still not sold all that much on Baker Mayfield, but after the season, I am sold on Mike Evans. This guy is a beast, and will continue to be a beast until he retires. Alright, next up, we have a guy who no one expected to be this good this quickly, but we have, at number 7, Puka Ngata from the Los Angeles Rams. Yeah, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. Puka Ngata might be the new number 1 receiver for the Rams instead of Cooper Kupp. Maybe. I'm not including Cooper Kupp on here because, he didn't play a full season at all. And when he did play, it was kind of shabby. However, Puka Ngata really stepped up. 105 receptions at 160 targets, 1,486 yards, that's top 5 in the league, 14.2 yards per catch, 6 touchdowns, 80 yards was his longest catch, 87.4 yards per game, and fumbled once that entire season. Listen, this guy holds the new rookie receiving record. He's going to be a star for a super long time. As long as Matthew Stafford is around, the Rams could definitely win the Super Bowl, in my opinion. Alright, this is one of my favorite guys. At number 6, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown from the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, man, they had an immaculate season last year. Their defense, their offense, it was all good. This guy is a clear leader on the receiving side of the offense. 119 receptions, 164 targets, 1,515 yards, 12.7 yards per catch, 10 touchdowns, 70 was his longest catch, 94.7 yards per game, and only one fumble that entire season. I cannot say this enough. Amon-Ra St. Brown is by far one of the best young receivers that I have seen in my entire lifetime. If he keeps this up, he could be number one before you know it. Alright, getting into the top 5. At number 5, we have Jamar Chase from the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I understand his situation. Joe Burrow got hurt, and now he had Jake Browning to get him the ball, so that's why his stats aren't as good as they could be. However, he is still a monster, and his stats are still very good. I mean, 100 receptions out of 145 targets, 1,216 yards, 12.2 yards per catch, 7 touchdowns, 76 yards was his longest catch, 76 yards per game, funny enough, and 1 fumble the entire season. The Cincinnati Bengals are future Super Bowl champions. I'm calling it now. It's going to be the Eagles. If I'm predicting right, it will be the Eagles and the Bengals in this year's Super Bowl. I'm calling it now. I'm calling Jamar Chase to go off this season. Now that Joe Burrow is going to be healthy, or at least I hope he will be healthy. But as long as Joe Burrow's healthy, Jamar Chase will have immaculate stats. But after this season, he's shown no matter what quarterback you have, he'll still have good stats. No doubt about that. Alright, this is going to piss a lot of people off. But at number 4, we have CeeDee Lamb from the Dallas Cowboys. Look, this guy had a great season. It's just I can't put him at number 1 yet. Like, there are some receivers that are better than him. I keep telling everyone this. Like, there are some receivers that are better than him right now. However, CeeDee Lamb, I'm not taking anything away from him. He had an insane season. 135 receptions out of 181 targets. That was the most in the league. 1,749 yards. That's second. Averaged 13 yards per catch. 12 touchdowns. 92 yards was his longest catch after that. I watched that game with the Lions. He had that insane catch. That was 92 yards. 102.9 yards per game and 3 fumbles. Yikes. Another reason why CeeDee Lamb is at 4 is just because, like, the Cowboys are such an inconsistent team. Like, it's hard for me to put him at number 1. And plus, like, his stats are so good because, like, he is the clear-cut number 1 guy. Like, some of these guys at number 3 have to share the ball a lot, but they still have insanely good stats. CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Jake Ferguson, like, those guys can't do crap, honestly, if I'm being honest. But, Dak had a pretty good season, and CeeDee Lamb had a good season, so, those two connect, and, by far, CeeDee Lamb, great season. We'll have to see what he does going forward, or hopefully, not hopefully for me, I'm an Eagles fan, but for Cowboys fans, they're saying hopefully, the Cowboys can get past the second round, like the 76ers. Alright, this is really going to piss some people off. But at number 3, we have A.J. Brown from the Philadelphia Eagles. This guy is just a beast physical-wise. Like, you could put 10 guys covering him and he'll still catch the ball and run for the touchdown. Like, that's how good A.J. Brown is. His stats could be so much better had he had a decent coordinator. Like, that's why CeeDee Lamb's stats are better than A.J. Brown's, because he had a decent coordinator. A.J. Brown, was playing hurt for, most of the season. Every game was about, is he going to get injured or what injury is he going to pick up next? But he still had a really great season. 106 receptions out of 158 targets, 1,456 yards, 13.7 yards per catch, 7 touchdowns, 59 was his longest reception, 85.6 yards per game, and 2 fumbles that entire season. Again, this guy could be number 1 had he had a decent coordinator. Same with Jalen. He could have been number 1 had he had a decent coordinator, except for Brian Johnson. The Eagles has probably the most talented offense in the entire league. It's just that as I keep mentioning in my videos, it all goes to waste if you have a bad coordinator or coach. But A.J. Brown is such a monster, and that's why he's at number 3. There are just 2 guys right now that are better than him. Just 2. Speaking of one of them being Tyreek Hill, coming in at number 2. I'm telling you guys, if you press this guy, he will leave you in the dust. He's got like 99 speed everywhere. 119 receptions out of 171 targets. 1,790. You know what? We'll just call it 1,800 yards. I mean, what's the difference? 15.1 yards per catch. 13 touchdowns, tied for the most. 78 yards was his longest catch. 112.4 yards per game and 1 fumble. Yeah. Tyreek Hill. What a season that guy's had. It just really sucks, though, that he can't win a Super Bowl with the Dolphins because he has only a mid quarterback. Like, probably one of the most mid quarterbacks I've ever seen in Tua. Like, honestly, I do not know what you guys see in that man. I really don't. But, you know, like, Tyreek Hill's basically their whole offense. I mean, Jalen Waddle, you're good, but you were hurt for, like, most of the season. Tyreek Hill stepped up. And look at these stats. Like, these are by far the most insane stats from a wide receiver I've ever seen in my life. Not even kidding. There's just one guy that's better than him, though. And coming in at number 1, you already know. Since this is a list going into the next season, you already know it's Justin Jefferson. It's not even close, from the Minnesota Vikings. This guy could go down as the greatest receiver who ever played. Like, if he keeps up what he's been doing, like, he could go down as the greatest receiver who ever played. I'm not even kidding. You know, I just can't include his stats because, you know, it's like an Edwin Diaz situation with the Mets. Like, you know, he had such a good year, like probably the best year you've ever seen from his position. But you know, he got hurt this last season, so he wasn't really able to play that much. But you know, Justin Jefferson, like like AJ Brown, you could put 10 guys and he'll still catch the ball. Like I don't even have any words for Justin Jefferson. Now, I'm going to get the immediate heat in the comments, but honestly, I really couldn't care less. Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the entire league. It's not even close. All that's left now is to get a quarterback that can get him the ball. And what better way to do that than the NFL draft coming up? So we'll have to see what the Vikings do. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. 6 more, guys. We only need 6 more for 100 subscribers. Thank you all who have been on this journey with me. But for those of you who haven't, join the community. You know, subscribe. See some good videos. But enough with the mushy stuff. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And whatever the top comment says, please comment what position you want me to do next. And whichever position gets the most votes, I will do next. And that will do it for the next video, so on and so forth. But, you know, I'll see you guys next time, the next time I upload. Peace.